We've been walking for hours. We've got to quicken our pace. The Lich King is defenseless without us.
I left many of my warriors at Icecrown before I came to find you, Death Knight. They will hold the line for as long as they are able.
Tell me, where are all of your people? Shouldn't there be Nerubians around here, undead or otherwise?
I've been wondering about that myself. Something must have driven them all off.
We did, you rotting bastards! We've been watching you all along!
Muradin's dwarves. Impossible. Doesn't anyone stay dead anymore?
We've been wandering this forsaken land ever since you killed Muradin and left us to rot Arthas. Our leader, Baelgun, led us into the ruined city to survive. But there's no way we're letting you in.
We have no time for these games. Saphiron, attack! Well done, mighty Saphiron. I wish we could take you with us, but the confines of the Dark Earth are no place for you.
The Lich King's time is running short. We must hurry.
Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers.
For Kazmatan!
What is it now?
A pint for every ghoul ye blast!
Time is fleeting.
What do you need?
Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers.
Aye, sir.
This is more like it.
Set off the charges! Blow the bridge before they get across!
No! Stop them before they...
That was for Muradin. Now you'll never get across.
There are other passages through the labyrinth, Death Knight. We will find another way.
For the Lich King. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. You will know endless torment. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers.
I'm your shooter.
Speak, fool. Your pain shall be legendary. Gold. We should take this with us. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. Finally.
We'll see.
Faithless coward. I'll make sure you suffer. Frostmourne hungers.
I'll consume the living and the dead.
This is more like it. These Nerubians are your kin. Why are they hostile to us?
Many of us who fell during the War of the Spider were brought back to serve the Lich King. These warriors, however, never died. Foolishly, they still fight to liberate Naru from the Scourge.
More gold. This might help us later. Now, Frostmourne. This is more like it. Your pain shall be legendary. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. Frostmourne hungers. For the Lich King. Finally. Ah, at last.
By Neru. Indubitably. Kinky.
This place looks like an old storage silo. It's a dead end, Nubarak.
There must be a hidden passage somewhere. We Nerubians were crafty engineers in our time.
Now, Frostmourne. Your pain shall be legendary. You will know endless torment. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Finally. Faithless coward.
This is an ancient Nerubian hoarding cell. We kept most of our treasures hidden in chambers like this. The passage to the lower depths lies just beyond this room.
Great. As long as we're here, we can take some of these items with us. Finally. What is it now? Now, Frostmourne. Faithless coward. More gold. Take all you can carry. Now, Frostmourne. Ah, at last. This is more like it. Tread lightly. Finally. I'll make sure you suffer. Finally. This is more like it. Speak, fool. Ah, at last.
I'll see to it.
Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Ah, at last.
I'll consume the living and the dead.
Frostmourne hungers. Your pain shall be legendary. Tread lightly.
My might cannot be matched. By
No one
Neru.
orders me around.
Don't even try it, you bastard! That there treasure belongs to the dwarves!
This treasure belongs to the Lich King, little creature. We, his servants, shall take what we will.
Ah, at last.
This is for Maradin, you bastards!
Ah, at last. For the Lich King. Finally. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. Ah, at last. Frostmourne hungers. Now, Frostmourne.
It's them! Bust them!
see to it.
This is more like it. Ah, at last. You will know endless torment. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers.
Kinky.
Damned undead! Slay 'em all!
Faithless coward. This is more like it. Finally. Frostmourne hungers.
Shoot anything that shuffles or skitters!
Finally. For the Lich King. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Ah, at last. Finally. This is more like it. Speak, fool.
I serve
Frostmourne
only the frozen
hungers.
throne.
I'll make sure you suffer. Your pain shall be legendary.
I remember you, evil prince. You're the one that killed poor Muradin.
Get over it already.
I won't let you through this door, traitor. The recent quakes have awakened dark things under the ice. Ancient, horrid things. We vowed to keep them locked where they are.
We'll take our chances, dwarf. We're going through that door, one way or another. Ah, at last.
I'll consume the living and the dead.
Frostmourne hungers.
I have heard the summons. My Nerub.
Ah, at last.
I wait for the Spider Kingdom.
This is more like it.
My might cannot be matched. I'll see to it.
Faithless coward.
Time is fleeting. Indubitably,
What is it now?
I serve
Tread
only
lightly.
the frozen throne. Indubitably, oblivion awaits.
The air smells awful in here. Something doesn't feel right.
If the dwarf's story was true, there's no telling what awaits us in the darkness. This stairwell leads into the heart of the old Nerubian Empire. We must be cautious.
By all means. You first.
We have entered the old kingdom. Be wary, Death Knight. Whatever scared the dwarves still lurks down here somewhere.
No one orders me around.
I have heard the summons.
Finally.
Wait. The towers on either side are rigged to fire bolts of frost. This hallway is a death trap.
Can't we disable them?
The circular hatch in the far wall is an aqueduct plug. If we can open it, The water might flood the firing mechanisms and disable the entire trap.
Tread lightly. Gold. We should take this with us. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. Ah, at last. This is more like it.
Make your choice.
Frostmourne hungers. Finally. That's done it. Let's move. This is more like it. Tread lightly. What is it now? Ah, at last.
Look, brothers. The traitor king.
Who? Me?
He is referring to me, Death Knight. These Nerubians will stop at nothing to destroy us.
Frostmourne hungers.
Thank you, Great One. The rebel spiders captured my comrades as well. They're being held in a nearby chamber. Release them, and they will be yours to command.
Finally. This is more like it. At last. Frostmourne hungers.
Speak. I'll consume the living and the dead.
Ah, at last. Finally.
I have heard the summons. Speak. By Nerub. I'll
Frostmourne hungers. The Guardians are activating. Defend yourselves! This is more like it. Finally.
I serve only the frozen throne.
What is it now?
I'll see to it. By Nerub. I'll consume
Speak,
the
fool.
living and the dead.
Frostmourne hungers.
Time is fleeting. Indubitably.
Ah, at last. This is more like it.
Slay the intruders.
This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers.
I'll see to it.
This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. At last. At last. Your pain shall be legendary. You will know endless torment. This is more like it. I'll make sure you suffer. You will know endless torment. Finally. Faithless coward.
Your choice.
Frostmourne hungers. At last.
Death to the servants of Ner'zhul. The eggs of our young are incubated within those breeding pods. There's no telling how many vicious hatchlings they hold.
You are right. They're definitely hostile. We've got to destroy the breeding pods.
We could also seal the doors to shut the hatchlings in.
Your pain shall be legendary. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it.
My might cannot be matched. Feel the venom of Ner'zhul. My Ner'zhul.
At last. Finally. Now, Frostmourne. I'll make sure you suffer. You will know endless torment. For the Lich King. I'll make sure you suffer. Faithless coward. Your pain shall be legendary. At last.
Time is fleeting.
No one orders me around.
My might cannot be matched.
Tread lightly. Frostmourne hungers.
Speak. Kinky.
Now, Frostmourne. This is more like it. Finally. At last. This is more like it. Your pain shall be legendary. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it.
I'll see to it. Drive the foul undead back to the surface.
Frostmourne hungers.
Kinky.
At last. Finally. Now, Frostmourne. At last. For the Lich King. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers.
I have heard the summons. Indubitably. I'll consume the living
Finally.
and the dead.
What is it now? I'll make sure you suffer. Speak, fool. This is more like it. What the hell are they?
They are the horrors the dwarves spoke of. I thought they were only legends.
What?
They are the faceless ones.
at last. Frostmourne hungers. You will know endless torment. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. Finally. No one orders me around. Frostmourne hungers.
I wait.
At last.
I wait.
At last. Faithless coward. This is more like it.
It cannot be. A forgotten one. Look to your defenses, Death Knight. Fight as you've never fought before.
Finally.
Make your choice.
Faithless coward. I'll make sure you suffer. Frostmourne hungers. Frostmourne hungers.
We cannot take them all. Hurry, Death Knight! Up the stairwell! Hurry!
We're running out of time, Anubarak. How far are we from the exit?
Not far. We have entered the Upper Kingdom. The exit should lead us to the base of the glacier itself. However, there are still hidden traps and pitfalls to account for.
Take cover!
Arthas!
The entire passage collapsed. There's no time to dig through this. I'll have to move quickly and find my own way out. Hopefully Anubarak and the others survived. At last. Finally. I'll be singed if I get too close to those flames. This is more like it. Tread lightly. I'll need this gold for when I reach the glacier. This is more like it. More of the Nerubians' blasted mechanisms. I'll have to time this perfectly. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. At last. This is more like it. You will know endless torment. At last. More gold. This might help us later. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. At last. Another quake? Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Now, Frostmourne. No one orders me around. Finally. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. At last. Finally. Finally. At last. This is more like it. What is it now? For the Lich King. Frostmourne hungers. At last. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Your pain shall be legendary. Finally. Finally. This is more like it. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Now, Frostmourne. At last. Finally. At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Finally. This is more like it. I must find a way across this strange obstacle. At last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. This is more like it. At last. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. Frostmourne hungers. Finally. At last. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Anubarak, you made it.
I see now why the Lich King chose you as his champion, Death Knight. Few men could have survived this labyrinth alone.
This is more like it. Finally.
Another earthquake. We must hurry, Death Knight.
Something's breaking through. Defensive positions! At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it.
The time is now.
At last.
I'll see to it.
Finally. Frostmourne hungers.
We're running out of time. We must find the exit.
At last.
They're blocking the way to the exit. We'll have to fight our way through them to reach it.
Sufficient mana. Finally. Frostmourne hungers. Finally.
I serve only
This
the
is more
frozen
like it.
throne.
At last. Frostmourne hungers. This is more like it. What is it now? Finally. At last. Frostmourne hungers. Finally.
Now quickly, head through that door. The exit to the surface lies just beyond.
It'll be good to see the sun again.
Remember, Illidan and the true battle still await us in the world above. Hopefully our trek through the Dark Earth bought us the precious time we needed.